Hey guys, it's Nolan from Windermere Real Estate in Silverdale. It's Tuesday, March 25th, and we are here with our weekly update. Let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, let's start out with our pocket stats. Let's take a look at the average sale price we see here and the average list price we see here. $649,000 sale price with a $655,000 list price, about a 99% ratio from list price to sale price. And then if we look at last week, we see that the average sale price was $657,000 and the average list price was $664,000. So this has been consistent over the last month or so, I would say, seeing a steady decrease. This week is the largest one we've seen probably in the last month or two. It's about $8,000 decrease. And then if we look at the total active units, 460 from last week, so those have gone down some. And then average days on market is staying about the same, 50 days on market, and the pending this week is also similar to last week at 82. Last week it was 81. However, if we look back about a month ago, I've got one here from February. Let's take a look at that, and then we'll see that we had 49 pending sales back in February. So the pending sales have increased quite a bit in the last, I guess it's been about 6 weeks. But then the sale prices, $687 and $695 list price from about 6 weeks ago, have dropped quite a bit. And then here's a look at more specific price ranges. 300 to 499, 75 active this week with 25 pending, 500 to 749, 150 active, 28 pending, and then 750 to a million, 82 active, 8 pending. Let's look at last week. We see 78 and 27 in the 300 to 500 range, from 500 to 750, 162 and 24 pending, from 750 to a million, 79 active and 10 pending. So not really seeing any significant changes in any particular price range. Okay, and then jumping into some news, there's a few articles to go over today. First is that there will be paid parking to be imposed in parts of downtown Poulsbo starting in 2026. And I'll leave the links for all these articles down below if you want to read the entire article. But I'll give you the gist of it. It looks like in the summer of 2026, they are planning to impose around a $2 an hour from 10 to 6 p.m. for either 6 or 7 days a week. And the areas are going to be from Anderson Parkway, from Front Street to Hostmark Street to the King Olaf parking lot, and then Jensen Street to Front Street and Iverson Street. The estimated revenues would be about $900,000 if it was for 6 days a week, and about $1 million if it were 7 days a week. And then there is also some talk for employee parking, about 42 spaces. And it did mention up here that it would be about 40% of the city-owned spaces that would be charging for parking, and there's about 60% that would remain free parking. And the cost for implementing it, $30,000 and about $410,000 to run it. But I'll leave this article down below if you want to read that, but something to take note of. That sounds like that will be coming in 2026. Okay, and the next up, as some of you probably heard, the Uss Nimitz departs Bremerton for its likely last deployment. On Friday, maybe you saw it, Friday morning, it left Bremerton for the last time and likely its last global deployment. The Nimitz is in its 50th year of service, and Lieutenant Commander Tim Petrak, he commented that the Nimitz celebrates its legacy of building alliances, demonstrating the power of teamwork and cooperation, and maintaining maritime stability and global security. And that leaves only the USS Ronald Reagan here at the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. It will be starting next month its 17-month-long docking planned incremental availability at PSNS. And that should keep the Ronald Reagan in Bremerton until at least mid-2026. Okay, and then some news about Armin, Jahr, and View Ridge Elementary Schools. As we come down here, they will be replacing both Armin, Jahr, and View Ridge Elementary Arts. The two are the centerpiece capital projects made possible by Bremerton voters passing a 25-year, $150 million bond in February of 2024. The district anticipates the new pair of two-story schools to be ready for occupancy by the end of 2026, but achieving that goal requires differing plans of action. So View Ridge sits on a 23-acre property, and they will be building the new school on the southeast corner of that property, which is where the track and field oval currently sits, if any of you are familiar with that, up behind the East Bremerton Community Gym, as we can see down here. So they're able to keep the old school intact and have the students there while they build the new school. Whereas Armin Jahr sits on a smaller 11-acre property, and with a lot of it being dense forest and wetlands, building the new school on a different site and keeping the old one intact while they do that was unfeasible. Therefore, they're going to have to tear it down, and they will have to move the students to an interim campus, which will be up there at that East Bremerton Community Gym field. Sounds like they will be transforming it into that interim campus, right there where the old Bremerton Junior High was, or depending how old you are, maybe where the East High was. Or if you're even older than that, I'm not sure what was there before East High. Please let me know. Okay, and then lastly, for an activity this weekend, this was kind of a cool story. I'll do my best to summarize it really quickly here, and I'll leave the link down below for anybody who wants to read the entire story. But at the Silverdale Waterfront Park, through the construction that took place there, and then the king tides hit and kind of did some damage to the landscaping around the area, and this local resident, Gayleen McCrae, kind of took it upon herself to start kind of slowly cleaning up those landscape areas that had gotten ruined from the king tides, and she started to plant daffodils, and basically that caught on like wildfire, and through a lot of different things happening, there are now nearly 12,000 flowers that will line the district with bright yellow colors this spring. And so this weekend, there's going to be the first Silverdale Daffodil Festival, which will happen on Saturday, March 29th at 11 a.m. at the Silverdale Waterfront Park. There will be music from the hometown band. There'll be some free snacks and drinks, art projects for the kids, and a daffodil promenade for participants to walk. So I thought that might be something interesting. I'll leave the link down below, and go check it out if you're looking for something to do this weekend. And that concludes our weekly update for this week. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I hope that you took some valuable information away. If you're interested in buying or selling a home here in the Kitsap area, have general real estate questions, or just questions about the community, feel free to reach out. I'd be more than happy to help you with any questions. Have an awesome day.